Hello and welcome. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how we're going to update our very simple little platformer here. And we're going to update the graphics, and then I'm going to show you how to give your player character multiple animations and how to make them work in the editor, the code editor, using Construct 3. So first thing we need to do is we need to download our graphic assets. So in the link description below, you will see this link here. So this is on opengameart.org, and this is the artist that we've seen before called Kenney. And thank you for Kenney's work. It's really, really fantastic stuff. And so it's a huge asset pack that gives you a lot of different building blocks to make a world. And what we're going to be really looking at right now today is going to be these little alien creatures. So you're going to want to scroll down and find the blue link here. Right mouse click, save link as, navigate to your desktop and save it there. Once you've gotten it on your desktop, you're going to double click it on your desktop to unzip it, and you can delete the zip file. Inside the folder, let's take just a quick little tour here. So inside the folder, you will see there's a lot of other little subfolders. You can look at the base pack, which has a whole bunch of great stuff, backgrounds and individual enemies and things like that. You can see the player. There's basically a couple different players in here, some green alien players, some blue ones, some pink ones. The one that I'm going to be using today, and the one I recommend you take a look at, is this folder here called Extra Animations and Enemies. And inside there, I'm going to go into the Alien Sprites folder. And inside here, you'll see that there are more aliens. So there's a beige alien here, the blue alien, which is the one I think I'm going to be using, the green alien, and there's a whole bunch of different actions from walking, swimming, standing, getting hurt, ducking, all this kind of stuff. There's a pink alien, and there is a yellow alien, which is very cool. All right, so I'm going to use the blue alien. I like him. He's got 3 eyes. I think that's very cool. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to update my player character. So I'm going to double-click my player, and I'm going to click on the little folder icon to load an image, go to my desktop, go to my platformer folder, extra animations and enemies, alien sprites. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead, and this is going to be my idle animation. So I'm using the stand ping image. So I'm going to just hit open, and there we are. Okay, so I'm going to now come up here to my right hand side, and I'm going to rename by right clicking and choosing rename. And I'm going to rename animation 1. I'm going to call that idle. There we go. And so this will be what the alien does when the alien's not doing anything, not running, not jumping, or anything like that. So there we go there. Okay, so now the alien comes in, and I think I'm pretty set. Okay, and because I updated the graphics, when I go to my event sheet, you'll see that now the alien has been updated. So let's take a look. Okay, so the alien falls, but he's kind of falling through the floor. Because of my code, he does flip left and right, so that's working. And he's got a little jump because he's got the platformer behavior. Let's figure out why he's falling through the floor, and then we'll move on to the other animations. So I'm going to open the player up again, and I'm going to go down over here, and I'm going to look for the image point. So I'm going to click on image point, and his image point is in the bottom middle, and that's where I want it to be. If yours is not, what you can do is you can right mouse click over here with the image point, go to quick assign, and choose bottom. And there you go. Now let's look right here at the collision polygon. And for some kooky reason, the collision polygon is this big old mess, which could work, and you can probably figure it out that you could go ahead and just do something like this and have it work a lot better. That would work. But we don't really need this complex of a collision. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to choose set to bounding box, and that just gives me just a good old box, and that's enough for this kind of a simple character. So now when I close it and play it, you'll now see that the character does in fact land on the solid platform. Okay, good. I'm going to go ahead and give a save. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add in the extra animations for the character. So I'm going to go back to player, zoom out a bit, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add in the extra animations. And the other two animations that we're going to cover are walk and jump. So I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to choose add animation. And I'll go ahead and rename this, and this will be walk. And then I'll right click again, choose add animation, rename it, and I'll call this one jump. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my walk animation now, and I'll go to load image, go find my alien and alien images. So you'll see that there are a couple different actions here. So there's a climbing action, and there's 2 frames for that. There's a duck animation, a hurt animation, swim animation, walk animation. And then there's this sort of frontward looking one. So there's quite a few. So after you're done with this tutorial, you can go back and add in quite a few other animations. Okay, so I'm going to be adding in these 2 frames here, walk 1 and walk 2, and it's a really simple one. Okay, so I'm actually going to click on cancel, and because I'm going to be adding in 2 frames, I'm going to add in the frames down here. So it was my mistake. I didn't mean to go up here to the little folder. You only need to go up to the little folder to say load image if you're loading in a single image, but we're doing frames. So I'm going to come down here and right click. I'm going to choose import frames, and I'm going to say from files because I'm using multiple files. So I'm going to go navigate and find the alien blue, walk 1 and walk 2, and I'm going to select both of those and bring them in. I'm going to delete frame 0 by right clicking and hitting delete. Okay, so here is the walk animation, and you can preview these animations by coming up to your animation, right mouse clicking, and simply choosing preview. And since this is only a 2-frame animation, I'm not going to get a whole lot, but there it is right there. Keep in mind that if you want to change the animation properties, you have to select the animation up here. You can then come down here and you can choose how fast it plays, whether it loops or not, and other settings here. So I'm going to leave these settings as is, and then I'll come back and tweak them if I need to. All right, I'm going to now set up my jump animation. So again, select the jump, come down here to the frames, right mouse click, import frames from files, and the jump is actually just a single frame, so not too much there. I'm going to delete the extra frame, and there we go. I'm just going to go ahead and check the image point. Okay, so on all of the new animations that you make, you have to reset the image point. So here is here's my walk animation. I'm going to come over here to the image point, and I'm going to say quick assign, and I'm going to choose bottom middle. Then I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to say apply to all animations. And that should now set it up for all of my frames. So there we go. And I'm going to check my jump, and you can see that it also set it up for my jump. So it's one step, and it takes care of it for all of them. So that's really nice. Okay, let's now do a little bit of coding. So I'm going to go over to my event sheet, and on my event sheet I'm going to add a new event. It's going to be set to my player, and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to say when, this is going to be the walk animation, so I'm going to say when the platformer is moving, when the object is moving, then I'm going to set the animation. So right down here under animations, I'm going to say set animation. So right here where it says animation, you can either memorize what your animation is called, but what I like to do is get rid of these quotes. And if you do the quotations again and you do open quotes, then it shows you all of your available animations that you have from your animation editor, which is really helpful. So I'll just double click on walk. And your animation title has to be inside quotes, so just make sure that's set up. And then I'll hit done. And you can see it says set animation to walk play from the beginning. So if I go ahead and play test that now my character does his little walk, and he mirrors left and right. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now, the character can walk in mid-air if I keep holding down the left and right arrow key, which isn't ideal, and it's not really what I want. So what I can do is I can go ahead and I can add in another condition. So I can say when the player is moving, but now I also want it to be that the player can only do the walk animation when the player is on the ground or on the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right here underneath where it says player and platform is moving. I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to say add, and I'm going to say add another condition. And the other condition is going to be player, and I'm going to come down to where it says platformer, and I'm going to say platform is on floor. There we go. So when the player is moving and the player is on the floor, set the animation to walk. Okay, so now my character walks, but when my character's in midair and not on the floor, they can't do the walk animation. So, so that's working pretty well. I like that. And it's just a little thing. You don't have to do it. It's not a game breaker, but it would be nice. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do the jump animation. So I'm going to add an event, player, and come down here to platformer, and I'm going to say is jumping. So when platformer is jumping, then the action is player, set animation. I'm going to do quotations, jump. There we go. Okay, so real simple now. Now the character does that one little jump pose, and that's great. Okay, it's working out. And last but not least, I'm going to set up my idle animation. So I'm going to duplicate this event right here. So instead of hand making it again. So the way you do that is you left click on the left hand side, and that selects the entire event. On a Mac, you can hold down the command key, and you can command left click and then drag this black line down. And when you see the black line show below like that, you can let go, and you'll see that it made a copy and pasted it right here. So that's really good. Next, what I can do is I can just go in and customize these for the idle animation. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and customize it. So instead of the player is moving, I'm going to double click on that, and we're going to do the player needs to be stopped, and that's when it'll do its idle animation. So I'm going to scroll down, and right here where it says platform animation triggers, it's going to say on stopped. So now when the player platformer is stopped, so no movement, and the player is on the floor, I'm going to then set the animation not to walk, but to idle. And there we go. So now when I play, so when I lift up on the keys, he just stops and goes to his idle animation. Okay, and last but not least, if I'm not happy with that, or I want to add in a little bit more of a visual change, I could come back here to the player, take his idle animation, which really isn't an animation at all, it's just a frame, and maybe I want to change it. So maybe I will come down here, import frames from files, and maybe I'll just choose this one here where he's looking at me all strange like. And then maybe I'll just delete this one frame here. So now he's just looking straight forward. The image point got reset. There we go. Let's see if this got reset. Nope, it's good. Okay, so now when I press play, when I don't do anything, he just stares at you. And now I can walk, and then he just stares at you waiting for instruction. And he just stares at you. So that's kind of cool. So maybe I'll leave it like that. Okay, so now from here, what can you do? Well, you can certainly go back into the player over here, and you could add in other animations. You could add in a hurt animation when he collides with hazards like spikes or enemies. It plays the hurt animation. Then you could do a health system with a global variable and give your character some hit points or some health so that the character loses health. You saw that there were some other animations. Just real quickly here. Here we go. So there's a swim animation. So if you want to add in water, you could do that. There's a hurt animation. There's a duck animation. There's a climb animation. We will learn how to set up going up vertical things like ladders and vines and things like that. Or you could go ahead and you could go to our one of our favorite apps, and that is Piskel. You could go to the Piskel app, and you could go ahead and sign in, and then you could create your own animation over here using the frames. And then you could export out your frames and import them into Construct and do some really, really, really cool stuff. Let's see, I'll add in one last little touch. I'll add in an event, and this is when the player is going to collide with, let's see, on collision with another object, and that's going to be the potion. The potion will then, let's see, the potion will then be destroyed. Okay, so now when I go up onto that platform and I touch the potion then disappears. And you can go ahead and run around on your platforms and you can do some pretty cool stuff. All right, I will see you in the next video tutorial. Good luck.